those who observe, who went for the retreat, or who took up the 8 precepts, with daybreak, the 8 precepts come to a completion. Yeah. Hope you all have good rest. Did you all have a good rest? Slept like a drunk baby? uh, okay, now we are on to the last of the 10 wholesome deeds. Yeah. On wrong view. Yeah. So it has its roots in delusion, in ignorance. So if the delusion is so deep-seated that it becomes a view that is wrong, then it's considered an unwholesome mental deed, yeah, or mental action. So when we say that it is a wrong view, it is not simply an opinion, yeah. It means that it is a way of looking at things to the point where it changes the way you act. Yeah, the way you act. So it's not simply saying, "Oh, I think it's like that." Yeah, no, it's not simply just I think like that or I think it's like that. Yeah, but it's where you are so firm in it, you have conviction. Yeah, and this such wrong views can arise due to 邪师邪教邪典邪师邪典邪友. Yeah. So the first is the teacher who teaches the wrong thing. Yeah. And then the teachings itself that is wrong, and then the wrong companions. Or in some translation, we say the evil teacher, the evil teachings, and the evil companions. Yeah. Granted, when you if you do meet the teacher who is evil, the teachers may not think that they are evil. Yeah, probably won't think that they are evil. And that's why it's a wrong view. Yeah, it's self-deluded. Yeah. Take for example, in the Buddha's time, there's something called the 牛狗外道, the cow and the dog ascetic. Cow ascetic and the dog ascetic. So their practice is to live like dogs and live like cows. So the dog ascetic, they will go on all fours, they'll pee like a dog, yeah, and so on and so forth. Whereas the cow ascetic, they would regurgitate their meal and then chew again. Yeah. Now, for most people, this would seem like a very strange way of doing things. Like, why would anyone think that this would lead to a better rebirth? So it turned out that their grandmaster, yeah, or their teacher who come up with this, actually developed psychic vision. Yeah, developed the divine eye, and then the teacher saw that some cows were getting reborn in heaven. Then some other teachers saw that the dogs were getting reborn in heaven. Yeah, there's this Western expression, all dogs go to heaven. When I first saw that, I was like, oh no, are these the re rebirth of those ascetics in the past? Continue with this mindset. Yeah, so when they saw that, then they think, oh, since cows get reborn in heaven, or since dogs are reborn in heaven, then they must be doing something right. Well, let's copy whatever they are doing. Then we should get reborn in heaven. Yeah, so the Buddha refuted that and declared that it is because they only see the end result, the ending part. So they wrongly impute that the life of a cow, the life of a dog, results in heavenly rebirth. What is happening really is, in the long distant past, these cows or dogs, they did wholesome deeds, unwholesome deeds. But the wholesome deeds didn't ripen. the unwholesome deeds ripen, they get reborn as cows. They get reborn as dogs. And when the unwholesome deeds expire, yeah, is expended, then the wholesome deeds ripen, and as a result, they get reborn in heaven. Yeah. So it is still due to the wholesome deeds that were done that they get reborn in heaven, not the action as a cow, action as a dog. Yeah. So, but from the point of view of the ascetic, accepted this notion, what they have seen as fact, as truth. Yeah. And so then they have a certain view that no, it must be like this. So up to this point, this is just a view. So we say that it's wrong because it doesn't conform with what did they intend it to be. They do it thinking that they can be reborn in heaven, but it doesn't. Hence, it's wrong, and it doesn't lead to a happy rebirth. Yeah, um, it doesn't lead to liberation. Hence, it's wrong. Yeah, and that's why sometimes um, I ask students like, whatever practice you do, you need to have some level of understanding. Yeah, uh, because from this you see that um, the attitude is actually very important. The mindset, yeah. In other words, the view itself is very important, and that's why when you look at the Noble Eightfold Path, it starts off with right view. But right view here, it's not the full right view, in a sense that it is not that you immediately develop right view. Yeah. So you just learn about right view. You learn that, oh, okay, what is wholesome, what is unwholesome. You learn about this. You just learn about Noble Eightfold Path. You just learn about the Four Noble Truths. You just learn. And you just know that there's such a thing. And then you say, okay, let's adopt this for now. We may not totally appreciate it, but let's try it out. Yeah, let's try it out. Yeah. And while trying out, we learn further why this is unwholesome, why this is wholesome. We learn about why suffering is suffering. We learn about why causes of suffering is causes of suffering. We learn suffering is indeed the true end of suffering. We learn about why the path leading to this end of suffering is indeed the path leading to the end of suffering. We learn about the 12 links of dependent origination. We learn why it's like this. Yeah. And now and then we reflect and understand indeed why it's like this. And then we practice so that we can affirm, verify that it's indeed like this. Yeah, so we don't start off immediately knowing it's really like this. We just hear. I just heard. Yeah, initially we start off this way. But if you start off this way and you hear and then you just try it out first, that can shape your intent, your speech, your action of livelihood. It can shape your effort, your mindfulness, and concentration. And if you were to hone the rest of the seven limbs of the Eightfold Path in this way, it can gradually transform your body, speech, and mind. And in that way, purify your body, your speech, your mind, and ultimately your view. And when your view is fully purified, what does it mean? It means that you have affirmed what you have learned all this while. Then it's no longer just a belief, no longer just test driving. It's no longer because you heard, that's why you think it's like this, but you have seen for yourself. Then that right view is no longer what you have heard, but it is what you see for yourself. Then you become at least a sotapanna. Yeah. Dun-dun. And your name go into the journals. So and so became one of the arahants. Yeah. Or sotapanna for that matter. Yeah. So and because as you move in this direction, it leads to defilements, lesser and lesser craving and clinging. And as a result, lesser and lesser suffering, and ultimately end of suffering. Hence, is known as right view. Yeah. So um, keep this in mind in whatever practice you do. Yeah. Don't think that a practice is right simply because it's done in a temple. Yeah. Yeah. Not simply because it's done in a temple. And don't think that it's wrong simply because it's not done in a temple. Yeah, meditate in a temple. Hmm. uh, there was once I was leading this group, and then I told them that I want to standardize the puja. Yeah, and then because of the standardization, then they were asking like, so then we are not going to have the 如香赞, we are not going to have the 法器, you know, not the full set anyway. Then they say that, oh, but without all that, then it's incomplete. 不如法 or like, you know, it doesn't seem right. So I'm like, oh gosh, where do I even start? Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, for example, I won't apologize for this, but I must qualify this, what I just said. Taken out of context, then it seems like I'm declaring war with the rest of the Chinese Mahayana tradition. We Chinese Mahayana Buddhists sometimes have a fixation with our culture. We're so proud of our culture, we forget that we should be it should be Dhamma we should be looking at, and not the culture. The culture is a very meaningful and powerful medium in which the Dharma is being carried on. Because without the culture, then there's no medium for the Dharma to be passed on. Culture is what moves through time. Yeah. So by infusing the Dharma into our culture, then the culture gets carried, or rather the culture carries the Dharma along. But as we use the culture and carry the Dharma along for after a while, we forget that it's the Dharma we want to carry. we hold on to culture and not the Dharma. And part of the culture is our usage of the Fa Qi. Yeah. Yeah. Now, I say this, let me highlight, it must be qualified. That means this statement must be qualified. The usage of the instruments does serve a purpose. It has its purpose and functions. But oftentimes not what people think. When you strike the bell, yeah, when you strike the bell, or you敲the 木鱼, yeah, or like you have the 木鱼, right? Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛 Namo. Does it make it more powerful? Does it make you more Buddhist? We've been chanting without this, right? Have you all noticed? And then suddenly you hear this. Oh yeah, that's how it usually sounds like in other temple. Oh yeah, got the 木鱼. Hey, what happened to the 木鱼? And then later you go to a full set monastery, then you realize got many other things. Got the 钟鼓, dong dong ding dong. You know. But you must know that these are ancillary to the practice. Yeah. This did serve a purpose, and it does serve a purpose even today under certain circumstances. Yeah. It helps to draw people's attention. In particular, if you have a few hundred person chanting together, having the instruments really help. Do you recall during NDP, National Day Parade, and then if you're in the stadium, at home you only hear the recorded version. Yeah, you mainly hear the mic pick up. But if you are live there, you often hear waves of the singing. Why? Because it's very hard to orchestrate even with the loudspeaker. Very very difficult. Very hard to orchestrate. So so having the instruments help guide everybody. Yeah, and the design of the instruments um, is oftentimes monotone. Yeah, and used in a very particular way, and then plus the chanting to quieten people down. Yeah, for the most part, and sometimes to uplift us. Yeah, so when you notice, if you notice the 战佛记, they have more up and down. Yeah, 战佛记, 相战, all the 战. Every time you read it, then 战, something 战, something 战. The 战 always have more up and down, up and down. Yeah, and then you have the 찬文, yeah, also have a bit of up and down. Yeah, 往昔说早主. So it really makes you go up and down, go up and down. So that's why you feel so emotional. You feel I must change. Whereas for sutra is different. Sutra, 如是我闻已是佛在舍卫国基数及孤独愿与大比丘3250人俱. So it's very monotone. And in fact, when they chant at a certain speed, and then you listen across the different traditions, then it becomes very similar. Yeah. So there's a purpose for all this, right? But ultimately, the purpose is to get people into the Dhamma. So if you can get into the Dhamma without this, then why do you need this? But people, after a while, you forget, we get stuck with the wrapping. This is the wrapping. As Ying Sun Dao say, a lot of the skillful means are the wrapping. Yeah, is the sugar coating. The medicine is not in it. Yeah. So sometimes we get stuck. Yeah. And then if we get stuck thinking that this is what is the 究竟, then we can become a wrong view. Yeah. And again, I qualify only if you end up thinking that this is 究竟. Sifu, all the Chinese Mahana temple have 法器, what? Yes, because they know that, because we know that most people without the 法器, not all, yeah, a good number of people without the 法器, they don't feel spiritual. They don't feel spiritual. They don't feel spiritual enough to get connected. Most people are not. Yeah. For that matter, when we recite Sing Jing, right? So sometimes I switch to the just the 背诵, right? Yeah, the feeling is different. Then imagine if we 念般若波罗蜜多心经观自在菩萨行深般若波罗蜜多时照见无. The experience is different. Yeah. But ultimately, all the different ones is meant to just guide different people towards the Dhamma. Yeah. Otherwise, we should see one sutra. Otherwise, there should be one sutra where, 如是我闻一时佛在舍卫国 blah blah blah, and then, 尔时长老某某长老拿起法器，既敲木鱼，咚咚咚。Yeah. I mean, there are sutras that talk about the heavenly beings coming to praise the Buddha with the 天乐. But that's what the heavenly beings do. That's not what the monks did. Yeah, the monks, and that's the instructions of the monk, of the Buddha towards the disciples were, go and meditate, go and contemplate on the teachings. Yeah. So today's exercise on right view. Yeah, reflect on the practices you do in contrast with the defilements we have. This today's exercise is a bit difficult. Something that I've asked many students before. Yeah, I will ask them. So, what practice do you do? Number one. Number two, how does it help you with your defilements? Yeah, go and do the exercise. Yeah, your practice versus your defilements. Yeah, and when I say practice, it includes Wen Si Xiu. Yeah, so it includes your practice, it includes your learning of Dharma, yeah, everything. It includes your Jie Ting Hui. How does all this practice collectively help you with your defilements? Help you with your, when you how does all the things you have learned and practiced help you with this? Not help you more louder, yeah, no, but help you to see that the even just a slight you see the danger in this. Yeah. Okay. Have a soothing Sunday ahead. A metaphor.